IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion
with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion
with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion
with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
What time is K coming in? You said it's a oh unmute. Okay.
That's like a theme song. Yeah. All right. But yeah, so Trey's supposed to be his first time.
It's 12.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion
with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
Like it's kind of jam-packed.
I gotta get killed.
IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion
with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion
with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
HO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion
With Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 101.3 Jams.
That's right. Look good there. We got that song. We on. Let's see what we got. Razor, you feeling good, Razor?
Huh? Oh, my bad.
You ready to do the thing?
Yeah. 3 seconds. Let's get it.
Let's do the thing.
My bad. I was
Fine.
trying to look up the young man.
All right, here we go.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion.
That's Max.
101.3
World.
Man got the hooping gun.
Seaville.
Get that
All
out.
in between. It's yours truly, Sir Charles. Who we got on the line? Queen on the line?
I'm
Yeah.
here. I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you beautifully.
Okay, good.
That Razor special delivery Bluetooth coming in handy.
Yes. I ain't got no money.
Got that good service.
Hey, look,
She bought her own stuff.
when Valentine's Day start, he gonna have to, up it a little bit, like Bluetooth,
Talk in person.
And who we got in the studio with Sir Charles today?
Yeah, we got Troy Robinson by special request of Razor in here this morning.
Okay, I like that. Government, putting the government out there.
Yeah.
Now, okay. People let it slip anyway, so it is what it is.
Yeah, I know, right?
Hey, but I appreciate y'all, because y'all could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, you're here with us, family. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor, IMHO Talk Show. Here to make it do what it do on yet another Sunday. We have a show lined up for y'all as always, Got to be business per usual. Hoping to be joined by Trei Davis from American Red Cross to give us some good information. I think he specializes in biomed, but particularly sickle cell.
Mm-hmm.
Sickle cell affects, out of the majority of people afflicted with that disease, it is African American.
Yeah.
So hopefully he's going to be joining us, but also hopefully second hour we want to be joined by Juanika Howard, no stranger, Sister Juanika, counselor here with the Women's Initiative. There's a new business in town too that reached out and wanted to come chat with us, make sure the folks knew about her and where she is. None other than Sabree with the Dollz House Fashions.
Okay.
And then Max, like I said, it's gonna be jam packed. Like I didn't want to turn Miles away, so I want to close the show with none other than Miles Coleman. Now, Miles may be a new staple here, Max. Miles is somebody that you and I. Not him specifically, but his profile, somebody that we wanted to get on for a while, which is that of a political correspondent. For we are sharing the community's message, the word, on the airwaves, what the folks want to know about, when it comes to elections and politics and whatnot.
Right. That's right.
Miles is going to introduce himself, and maybe he just might want to be recurring. Who knows? We'll see. So looking forward to meeting him, but but as we take care of business,
I love having people on the show that can give the actual factuals.
Right. Yeah. The actual factuals.
That'd be credible.
Yeah. Instead of Razor just going off the riff all the time,
right?
We need some actual facts.
It is what it is. Right. My mouth, I say what I want.
True that. But Miss Max, I'm gonna go ahead and turn the bed down. I'm going to turn the music down because, like, unfortunately, the more things change, the more they stay the same. As Max, like, I want to kick it over to you to sort of see, like, where your mental space is this morning, exactly what you're feeling, and, raising myself as well. Because it seems like no matter the efforts, no matter, the good intentions and all of that stuff, and no matter how far we think we've come, there's still so much to do, still so much for us to address as a people, as mankind, but then also as a Black people. So Max, how you feeling this morning? Like, with all the news, local and national. Like, what's your word for the people? What's the word for the people today?
Right. I think in general, I feel okay. I feel pretty good. I think we as individuals living in this world, kind of, we wake up with each day, and we normalize. We live. We think about the here and now, what's important to us, and what do we have to do next, and how we maintain it. What's the next goal, the next thing to do, and we have this mental space, of course, that contains all of our worries, concerns, disappointments, and frustrations, but we normalize and function in all of that as best as possible. And I think that that's just what many of us are doing today, and I'm in no different space. I'm excited about the show. I always look forward to being on the airwaves and being able to reach people, and hopefully leaving them with a good word and something to live by, and theoretically and practically. But we got a lot of serious stuff to talk about. There's a lot of unfortunate events, and that's putting it very lightly, because there's some people hurt today. There's some people who are, quite frankly, I'm sure, questioning, how do I continue to carry on, to live after these events, happening and impacting my life, and that something like that, one of our own, somebody we care about, somebody in your community, should affect all of us. We should all feel that, and we should all be feeling like, what can I do to help make a change, to help support, to help be a difference, to stop some of the things that are just tearing our community apart. And with the recent loss of the local young man, things like that destroy us. That's a reverberating wound that further disjoints the community. It causes further pain and trauma, and it's just an extremely difficult situation that we again we all figure out a way to live with and live past, and that's unhealthy, right? It's just unfortunate. It's just unfortunate. It's hard for me to put those type of things in words at times. But we're here, and we feel the pain of the city, and of the world when we talk about some national events. But we're here, we're ready, we'll give what we can, right? That's how we do. Give what we can. So
that's right. Love our people, but man.
Yeah. Me, I'm not good, right? I'm not good. Like Max said, the young man, as my Facebook friends referenced him to the name of Skeet, right? I didn't know him personally, but because of the people that were speaking on him and my connection with them, because of their hurt, it started affecting me the more posts I started reading.
Right.
On a personal level, I'm not good because I am walking the life that I preach to other people right now, right? God has me in a season of pushing through, of misunderstanding, of people misunderstanding my actions and my movements. I'm not good because I'm seeing the decline of my young Black males based off of love, right? Love has hurt the Black male. And I'll touch on that later on in the show.
Yeah, you got to break that down.
But I'm
I don't know
not,
what you mean.
yeah, the love of thy mother, female, to the young Black male is killing them. You have if you see the explosiveness of these young guys, you have them emulating a lot of what they've been around, which is not their fault. You know, what's training them up, but it's fueling the testosterone that's in them. And once that pot boils over, you have catastrophic events that happen. You know, that's the problem. You're mixing two things that should not be mixed together, right? Estrogen is estrogen, testosterone is testosterone. When you have testosterone being guided by estrogen, it has no choice but to bubble over. And that's what we're seeing. These kids are exploding. Fights is nothing new, you know, but the manner by which they take it, how fast, is catastrophic. And I, because of the way the society is saying that we are going as a community, I feel like I don't see a change coming. We have apple trees birthing apples. I don't see where that changes at. We are the society of World Star. These children are the fruit of all of us looking at World Star and these fights and all this craziness, right? We have so many people where male presence is not in the home except for to be with the woman. And the kids are come along as a result of you accept the woman, you got to accept the kids, but you don't have men really trying to change the trajectory of these kids. And then you don't have, unfortunately, I don't see where, when I talk to a lot of guys, I don't see where, because it's not their children, they can really have an impact on that child's life beyond what the mom says he can do. So then you're still at a point where you got a male presence who's not active inside the child's viewpoint. Now this boy is watching an ineffective male, and he's looking at what's the power in his house, which then leads him to how he interacts in community. All you gotta do is go to a basketball game. You'll see it all day long. You know, just the way they carry themselves. And it saddens me because I don't see a change tomorrow. I don't see where marching or talking, or I just don't see it. Like I want to see it. I just don't see it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm sure that some people, you probably have to break that down a little bit more as we go into the show. And I'm sure there's going to be some people who have additional questions for you. And quite honestly, I think what we're dealing with is a combination of a lot of different things, Razor. And I'm sure somebody heard what you said and thought, are you trying to say it's the mama's fault?
No, absolutely not.
But
absolutely
no.
not. It's the system.
I know. That's not what I am trying to necessarily say. I'm just acknowledging what some people may have heard, and they may have only heard it because they fall in that situation. And again, it's something to be maybe further explained later. But I think I think some of these events are a combination of stuff, and I just want people to think beyond hearing. Are you saying it's the mama's fault? Think beyond that, okay?
Yeah.
So anyway,
thank you.
Yeah,
I'll kick it over to Charles.
Yeah. I mean, we can't be so easily offended. And of course, that's easier said than done.
But
that's why you don't have no peace, y'all. You know what I'm saying? You lose peace quickly because you're offended quickly.
Right. Go ahead, Max.
No, I was just gonna say, but you can't. You said we can't be easily offended. I'm saying, but we are.
But we are.
And it's contributing to some of the negativity that's occurring in the community, like right now.
Absolutely. Because, shameless plug, I'm helping to put together a Black Love Symposium and soiree. And even around that, just trying to celebrate Black love, right, sometimes can become disheartening. Because I'm the first to say, I love my people, right? But I'm also the first to say, my own people sometimes give me the most heartache.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying that wholeheartedly. I'm saying that in the most heartfult way as possible.
Are we afraid of our people?
We absolutely are. And of course, part of that is indoctrinated, But yeah, man, it's, you know, like first, y'all know I'm one that's always talking about accountability, right? Y'all know that. But even when you talk about accountability, that does not neglect that there are people in power position that are expected to bear the burden, to be the professional, to be the mature one in certain instances, whether that's a parent and child relationship, whether that's a teacher-student relationship, or whether that's, you know, a police officer civilian relationship. When you have a title, when you have an authority, there's a level of responsibility that comes with that. And so, and I mentioned the whole Black love thing as well, because it's like the finger pointing doesn't help. It's like there's work for us all to do. And as I've said before, if someone says, man, my expertise is going to a school and reading with the kids, bravo. We should pat that person on the back and clap for them. Or if somebody says, my expertise is I'm in a professional field, so I can identify a kid that may have that natural talent that needs to be grown, and I'm going to help that kid get into these honors level classes or gifted classes. Bravo. That's right. Let's applaud them and let's pat that person on the back. But what we got to stop doing, which is what our kids see, is cutting each other down in every way, saying, oh, well, you ain't doing this. Oh, well, you ain't doing it. What about that one? You ain't helping that one. There's work in the vineyard for us all. And we all need to use our gifts and our talents to be able to change our situation. 100%. Because I feel like, yes, our kids are seeing the way that we act. And then why are we surprised when we get the result? Why are we surprised? Why are we surprised?
Right.
And Max, you may can see it, but that's why I'm wearing my shirt, because, you know, like, of course, I agree with what Razor's point, but my scale weighs heavier on the other side. My shirt says Black fathers matter. So when it comes to onus, and absolutely, and I know you agree, but you know, like, but when it comes to the onus, like I'm hard on that. Like I'm hard on whether you hate your baby mama to death. It don't matter. Black fathers matter. And not only does the father need to see that, but the mother needs to see that as well. And the mother needs to carry it that way, to realize that, like, it took two to make them. It's going to take two to fully raise them. Because when either one, and this is not lambasting either one, when either side is missing, something's going to fill that void. If the mom's missing, something negative is going to fill that void. If the dad's missing, something negative is going to fill that void. And hopefully you hope that it's not a negative filler. You just hope it's not.
Unfortunately, I feel that the father is the third piece to the puzzle. You know, when he should be in the forefront of taking care of not just the community, but his family. I think that society, I don't want to say government, I don't want to make an individual entity, but I think the way society has conformed the Black thought is that the second that the dad is human and makes mistakes, that the mother has an ability to go to an entity and make him pay when she can't. And at that point, the dad goes from his God-given right to be over his child to being told what he's allowed to do. And now we are at a point where, okay, if the mom wants you to come around, but the government has said that you can't, or this is what you have, you're at an ineffective point. So I don't agree with all the hollering of where's the dad. He in court. You know what I'm saying? He on the, no, I'm just saying he's in, like, let's say for instance, you may not be in court. You're married, you got a family, you got a dynamic, but you're one decision away from being in court.
I feel you.
You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you have no say so if your wife wanted to go straight to court and put you in court right now. There's nothing that you can do to keep from going to court. And because of that, a lot of men who aren't exactly bold in the first place are playing passive even before it gets to that point.
Totally feel you. And it's with everything. There's exceptions to the rules. Yeah, there's exceptions to the rules. But yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. But you know, but for everyone that you're mentioning, like, we also got brothers that we also need to grab by the collar and be like, bro,
absolutely, but they've always been there. That we've always had that. We know that there's always been an uncle such and such that had a family up this street and down that street. That has always been the case, right? But what hasn't been the case where it's felt like it's okay to be a single parent and raise your children. As long as the finances are here, I'll figure it out until I can't.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge dynamic in our community.
Yeah. Max, would you have?
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, fine. Just, give your opinion, but yeah, I just wanted to add, and the great thing about the show, is that it's our humble opinion, and we come from we can come from different opinions to make the whole. And what I want to add to what Razor was saying is that we really need our listeners and the community to understand that action is imperative. Like, it's imperative. Like, it
Amen.
has a cost attached, and that cost is someone's life. Whether we're talking about physically being able to to stay in this world, talking about actually living, we're talking about losing them to the prison system, we talk about losing them to drugs, we talking about losing them to just a life of poor choices. Like action is imperative, and not just imperative by a mother and a father, single, together, but action is imperative when we're talking about our local organizations.
Yeah.
Action is imperative when we're talking about just individuals. Action is imperative if you big mama in the neighborhood. Like, action is imperative, because if we keep letting this go the way that it is, and we don't course correct, we will continue to pay the cost of losing people one way or another. And so,
holistic approach.
That's right. I just want to make sure that people truly understand that and know. I think it's also worth mentioning that I understand that mothers and fathers aren't, I don't think, the only solution in some of these situations, because some of them are there and they in their kids' lives and they doing the best they can, and the kids are still making poor choices. And so it really does truly require a village in order to get our kids, or our adults, on the right path and keep them there.
That's right. As we bring this segment to a close, you probably can see that a couple of comments on air, Max. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah. You want to can you read that?
Yeah, sure. This comment is from Miss Dent. It says, not to center whiteness or unnecessarily state the obvious, but there's a huge amount of complicity from the white community. It's comfortable to not know or know and think it's happening over there. All our humanity is suffering here. If I could respond to that, that's very true. Very true. But from my perspective, if you love yours, you go get yours. And that's in the white community. That should be in the Black community. That should be across cultures and communities. But if we specifically talking about the issues that's causing us to lose Black lives within the city of Charlottesville, if you love yours, you go get yours. Whatever that looks like.
That's good.
And we can't leave it up to other people to go save and rescue ours. We already know what they're doing. Like, I can't keep, coming on here and giving people outs as far as I act the way I act, because the system is the system, and I don't do what I don't do because they won't let me, and I can't. Like, I get all of that, but at a certain point, you got to grab your own reins. You got to take control of your own. And if you love yours, you go get yours. You don't wait for somebody to step in and do it for you.
Yeah, that's right. And Juanika chimes in as well. I'm sure Razor like this. The Black family unit began to truly decline in the 50s when fathers had to leave the home, and often the city, town, to earn money for his family. We took another hit in the 80s. Systematic policies have worked very hard to break our families.
And also in our verbiage, when we went from communities to neighborhoods, you know what I'm saying? We unfortunately are the cliche kings. and those cliches become ideologies, and those ideologies become a way of life.
Yeah.
So there is a certain dynamic that we make ourselves believe what we want to believe.
Absolutely.
No different than us trying to turn the N word into a term of endearment.
That's right. That's right. That's why I talk about accountability so much, because that's just it. It's like you can't really blame a people who has been oppressed so harshly for so long for having some sort of stigmas around it.
Right.
But still at the same time, I mean, but you gotta hope, you gotta believe, because what is life without hope, right?
Yeah,
you gotta hope, believe that somehow we can pull each other out of it and stop falling victims to the self-hate that we were taught.
Aaron said one time before, where AA Ron, I'm sorry, y'all, had said one time before,
putting out everybody's government
about group economics, right? Group economics also can transfer over to emotional economics. If I love on the kids and you love on the kids and Max loves on the kids, what can the kid know anything else but love?
Right.
So we look at it from an economic situation, right? But as AA Ron was talking, I could hear the passion in his voice, and then that allowed me to look at it like, what else can I apply this to? You know, and that's what I think Max was alluding to about organizations coming together to try to solve this. Stop talking about what this one doing over here and what they not doing over there. And if we all act as the body, then if the pinky toe ain't there and you trying to knock him off, we're gonna lose balance. The back of the kneecap is just as important as the tongue. The ears is just as important as the eyes. We have to get to the point where we stop judging what each other is not doing and seeing what we can do in that equation.
And when we're working together, the next step, you're absolutely right. The next phase in that is that, like, we got to come together for a common cause and stop bickering amongst each other. Because I've said this before, like, I've seen this from the community room to the boardroom. There's other nationalities who get down to business. You may have one person that may hate another person guts on the other side of that table, but they there to get business done.
That's almost like every nationality but ours.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like we worried about what somebody did to me in high school. And then I'm undercutting myself by thinking that way instead of looking forward.
I know a good start, Charles. Look, I'm gonna give y'all all my cash app. Everybody just pour into that cash app, and then I'm gonna do what's right. I'm gonna do what's right.
You're gonna dismiss the funds, right?
I think give everybody a little humor there.
I think that these local organizations and individuals too that claim to be doing the work to help improve the community would be damn fools, really, to continue to do work the same as they have, especially because of recent events. So that's again, what I'm referring to is just separation from not being willing to collaborate with other organizations, or feeling like your way is the best, or not really giving a genuine effort or a true effort in things that just need to happen. I think we'd be a fool to continue that, considering what we're watching happen in the Charlottesville community.
Max,
right?
when I think I saw that
there's an all-out brawl that happened at CHS last week, Charlottesville High School last week. How can anybody look at the video recording of that and think, look at our kids? I don't know near one of them, don't know their parents. Look at our kids. We have got to do something about that. Why is that happening? And how can we help stop it?
And we have the power. Razor, before I kick it, and then we go to break. We have the power in every sense of the word. It's like, things have been misconstrued on when people make comments, references throughout history on how powerful we are if we join together, whether it's slavery, whether it's civil rights era, whether it's now, right? It's like we have power, not only in our manpower, but also in our economics. And anybody that says we don't is just someone who's really acting out of a selfishness, because we spend per capita than pretty much any other group. So we have the power for financial freedom. We just got to get serious about it.
I'm glad you went first, Charles, because that goes to where, since the show, I've been watching how some of these groups formulate, right? And they have great ideas and great missions, but they don't have the resources to fund themselves. Then they take it to our city council.
Sometimes the real work ethic to do what they say they're going to do.
Hold on a second, Max. And then they go to the city councils, right? And the city councils tell them, well, I'm not going to fund you. Let's make a little tweaks to it. So now we got people that don't understand exactly what we're going through, telling you how you need to tweak your organization in order for me to fund you. So now the idea that God gave you, or what you and your people know that the need is being twisted by the hands that are going to give you the resources. So it kind of ties people up, but nobody can talk badly about it because you want to get money for the next year coming up, the next cycle. I sit here and watch it, and it's because I'm an implant into Charlottesville. I'm not one of the original people here. My family didn't grow up here, so I get a chance to be a fly on the wall and watch this and see how sad this is. You know, so, and when you really look at it, they've constructed almost all of these organizations to overlap and work on the same thing. But where we know the problem is, you can't do anything because they didn't give you funding to do that. I watched one particular organization start off helping a group, a specific group, and then migrate into something else because money was there. That's sad. That's, I mean, I would never call names, but I mean, it's sad that had to happen in order for that organization to continue to flourish.
And Razor, to that point, and Max, kick it to you, but to Razor's point is that's exactly why an organization that hopefully will gain some traction was actually started, because there's a group of Black individuals in particular that found that this certain number would get tapped mostly to be a part of like every board, like every organization, every committee in town. They were like the Black representatives, like the Black faces, you know what I mean? Like the Black spokesperson. Well, I wouldn't even call it tokens, like why? Like because it's a lot of good people. So
no. I didn't say they weren't good people. I'm talking about the intent for the for the people, not their role, not the Black role.
Exactly,
because they're trying to help.
Exactly. Yeah. So some, you're right. So some organizations are approaching them to be their tokens, but also it's also a matter of like once you show that you can do something, and people are gonna keep coming back to you for it. They're like, oh, you did it before, you can do it for me, you can do it for them, right? And so the organization BEC, Black Empowerment Coalition, there's so many people who have great ideas in our community. There's people who even may want to start a nonprofit or whatnot, may not know how to. So the point is to say, look, you can have a voice. You can control your own board. You can control your own outcome. To your point, Razor. Right. It's like, but you got to understand how that world works. You got to understand how the business world, how the tax statuses work, and all that to make it come to fruition. And if there's other organizations already existing that you want to be a part of, there's training and stuff for that too. You know, so that we can eliminate that one divide that we have in this community of sort of, you have some folks that looked at like as elitists and whatnot, and a lot of times they're not and don't want to be looked at that way, but they're in circles that allows them to be a part of so much. You know, so the hope is to bring more of us in, so that you see more of our faces running our own initiatives for our own community. You know, but Max, I'm sorry, I just wanted to chime in on that, but you had something, right?
No, just listening to you two. We've said a lot. We've said a lot.
We were supposed to take a break a long time ago.
We ain't never followed protocol. You know that.
It's a lot to digest, quite honestly, and I think we've hit it at every angle that we can. Not to say the conversation is done, but no, I don't have anything to add. I just don't, I don't want to get away from the significance of what's happening here in Charlottesville within the Black community, the loss of life, unnecessary loss of life. I just want to pay respect to Eldridge Smith and his family, and my prayers go out to them, because I know this is a very difficult time. Situations happening in our local school system with our Black kids. That's very serious, and we got to do something. We can't just rely on our principal or our school superintendent or our school board or whoever to figure it out, because that's what we want, right? We want to stand back and point fingers and tell people to fix it. And quite honestly, I don't know. I don't believe that we have the answers as far as how to fix it. You just start expelling people right and left. You do what? You pull the parents in and talk to them about what's going on at home. How do you fix it? You get the kid to sit down with the counselor and talk about their problems. How do you fix it? So that there's some real results. so that there's a real change of behavior.
Yeah, and shout out to all the
and how do you
organizations,
implement
Max.
it? And how do you have the resources for it? So
Yeah. Max, on your point, I want to shout out everybody putting in work. You know what I mean? Because I want everybody to know like that like nothing like goes unseen, or at least it should. I mean, like in my personal humble opinion, like I want to applaud Principal Pitt as well, because that's just one of those things. Like Principal Pitt sent out an email end of last week where he said his job is that his school is about learning and safety. Right? Learning safe. Now, I've already had a conversation with somebody who didn't necessarily like the message. I like the message because he said his job is to ensure learning and safe environment. Right? So then that means instead of trying to nitpick the schools and the principal and all this about what they ain't doing, we need to be like, okay, so then where does the handshake happen? Where does Principal Pitt's job stop? And then the next group come in and pick up the work. Because when the child is outside of the school walls, then it's right. Do we expect the principal to then manage the neighborhood too? You see what I'm saying? It's like we got to follow up on that work. We all play a part. Shout out to all the organizations. Shout out to Zai Bryant creating that safe space yesterday for the for young folk to come and vent and whatnot. It's all love. It's all love.
Hey Charles. Also, let me say this to Black Charlottesville and anybody that supports Black Charlottesville. As these things are going on at the high school, we cannot allow our leadership to become the figureheads by which they say, okay, off with the head, on to the next one. We've watched it with the police chiefs, male and female, here in Charlottesville, and they will do the same thing to Dr. Pitts if they think it'll buy some time without the community pointing fingers and fussing at everybody, right? We have to give them the support that they need, the resources they need, and the buy-in in order to make change. If you're unwilling to do that, all you're going to do is have another person the next year coming in and waiting to do the exact same thing to them. We've watched this plight go on for 400 some years, and it's still continuing today. It doesn't matter if we barefoot out in the field or in a Brooks Brothers suit. They will make you a target, and pretty soon the ones that you're talking about they need to go will turn around and be you one day, and then you'll be looking for somebody to help you, and won't be nobody there.
Say so. Say so. As Deion Cole say, welp. You know what that means when Black people say, welp?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to go home, but you got to get out of here.
That was the first mic drop. Well.
Oh man, love y'all, family. You know what? If you want to be a part of this conversation, shout out to all of our family, our loyal listeners and followers online right now. Miss Max, IMHO Talk Show online, as well as if you're listening on this cloudy Sunday, hopefully we're also bringing some sunshine your way. And that means if you're listening live, you also can hit us up here in the station, because you know what? Because that's what we're here for. You know what I mean? 434-422-9101. Man, I remember that thing, Max. 422-9101.
That's right.
It's been a long time since I said that.
I still like
and we really do welcome the opinions of the community. So give us a call.
Yes, and we live, so you got to hit us during the breaks. Of course, we about to take one right now, but like I said, appreciate y'all. It's on air, man. We are a community. We are a community station. We are 101 Jam, Charlottesville's #1 for R&B, hip hop, and classics, right? And we are a community show. We hopefully we represent Seville, properly to the world, y'all.
Yeah.
But Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor, Black Love, Seville.
Good segment. Good segment.
Yeah.
IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion
with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
HO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion
With Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 1013 Jams.
HO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion
With Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 1013 Jams.
HO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion
With Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 1013 Jams.
HO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion
With Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 1013 Jams.
HO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion
With Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 1013 Jams.
HO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion
With Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 1013 Jams.
HO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion
With Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 1013 Jams.
We live in a society in which structural racism is a very real thing. We are all dealing with that in every aspect of our lives, and the media is a reflection of our community.
Historically, black people have been portrayed a certain way in the media to justify normative assumptions around political and social issues.
More black people behind the cameras, in front of the cameras, more producers, more people of color producing, so they can go and get the content that's needed so they can highlight our attributes.
I've been in this industry for 15 years, and I've seen firsthand how our voices just aren't heard. Even if you're in the newsroom, sometimes you get completely ignored and stereotypes are allowed to perpetuate. And one thing we want to do is combat that and also bring information to people so they can be as informed as possible when choices are made in this city, so they can do whatever they can to get their voices heard.
What I believe can be done about the situation is to have more people of color creating news stories. More people who have a interest in and a social consciousness that relates to the stories that they're telling.
Charlottesville Tomorrow looks at these issues. We can present them on IMHO. Vinegar Hill Magazine can take that a step further, and just together we can just make this thing that can be an example of how we can change the media landscape, how we can be more inclusive to get these voices in, to get these people heard. That's just one thing that doesn't happen in so many places, and it's a shame.
We think we live in a society that's very progressive, and we're talking about equity and diversity and inclusion and all these things. Still, the way that black people, and I would say, and I would argue especially black men, are portrayed by the media is incredibly dangerous, and you've seen the sort of tangible violence that it's led to over the past year.
The community can support the SIM project by first and foremost giving us an opportunity. We understand that it can be difficult to give trust right now, especially considering the current social and political environment. But this project will only be as successful as the community allows it to be. And so we ask you to give us the opportunity to do the work, critique the work, and make sure that we stay in line with the vision. Another way that the community can get behind the SIM project is through engagement. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you're talking about. We want to put your stories out there. And so whether it's reading the articles written by Charlottesville Tomorrow or Vinegar Hill Magazine, or tuning in to In My Humble Opinion on Sundays on 101.3 Jams from noon to 3 p.m., either way, we want you engaged. We want you to be part of this. The community can also support the SIM project through funding. To learn more about how to support SIM, you can visit our website. Thank you for your support.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion, only on 101.3 Jack.
Yeah. Back at it again, like we never left. Like we always do it this time. And every other cliche I can think of. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor, in the booth in the building. If you got another hour of another show, just trying to make it do what it do for our people. And remember, you know, we are at that flagship station 101 Jam. Charlottesville's #1 for R&B, hip hop, and classics. And we are IMHO Talk Show online. And remember, y'all can chime in at any point, comment. We love y'all, love the family, the loyal listeners, taking Seaville to the world, bringing the world to Seaville. And during the breaks, too, remember, 434-422-9101. But that's it, Miss Max, you know. Man, hearts be heavy, but we always have a job to do. We always want to use these airwaves for good, Max. We never want to.
That's right.
Never want to misuse this pulpit we were given.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, Razor. So, without further ado,
few, Razor.
But you know what, Razor, I'm gonna take a little weight off of you, know, and we're gonna bring in a homegirl right about now. We're gonna bring in none other than Juanika Howard to come and talk to us about, you know, things that she's involved in, you know, things that she champions within our community. Juanika, good afternoon to you.
Greetings, everyone.
So thank you for joining, in my humble opinion. And you know, so I know you wear a couple of hats, Juanika, because I be seeing you out there early in the morning running. And
yes,
then...
Lord. Yes, Lord. Let's talk about that. Yes, Lord. Listen, anybody else that want to come out and give it a try? Yes.
That's right.
6 a.m. Jefferson School parking lot. Hit us up Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
That's right. Shouts out to Prolific. Oh, and shouts out on that amazing event.
Paramount.
Yeah, screening the documentary yesterday. Yes, indeed. Shouts out to everybody doing that work. And Juanika, also, we see you providing services, you know, to our sisters in the community. So give the folks your exact title and affiliations.
Yes, Juanika Howard, LPC. I work at the Women's Initiative under the umbrella of Sister Circle. I am a therapist, education outreach support specialist.
Nice. Now break it down for us laymen, for us folks that didn't you the what? Get a higher ed. What you do, Juanika? What you do?
I like to say I'm a therapist, but then I'm that person that show up and pull up in the community when there's tabling events, when there's speaking engagements. There's a group of us that come out and just really try to support and feed the community.
That's right. So, you know, we've had members as from the Women's Initiative here many times. Your colleague Shelly Wood. You know, I know Amanda Coleman has moved on. So since Amanda has moved on, like what changes has taken shift at the Women's Initiative?
You know you was going to ask that. I don't even know why you cutting your ass over
at
there.
The Women's Initiative right now. No. You know, I'm just curious because I know there's folks who have grown akin to staffing. You know, that's part of the services. You get used to staff, but there's new leadership though, right?
Yes, so we did during the pandemic. We were able to expand. We've expanded to a larger population. We have, I think, 27 employees on the caseload. So initially, the Women's Initiative went from having like 12. So we had an opportunity to grow tremendously. We have Camille now that's in the place that Amanda once was in, and she's doing great things for us. She's trying to get us known more on the social media. So if y'all got any tips or tools for that, hit her up. Let us know how we can definitely be out there in the community.
There we go. Now, something more near and dear to your heart, so to speak. And we kind of kicked off the show as well, Juanika. We kicked off the show talking about our community, talking about the importance of us leaning on each other, trusting each other, so forth and so on, and also, you know, parents and like what that means, you know, Black man's role, you know, within the community, especially to our children, as well as the female, right? So, Sister Circle. Start wherever you want to start, because I'm sure there's some folks who may not be familiar with the work of the Sister Circle, but you know, so sort of introduce that, and then like whatever is on your plate right now, you know, when it comes to regards of counseling for your sisters.
Yes. So the Women's Initiative has a program called Sister Circle. Under that umbrella, we have 5 clinicians, 5 Black female clinicians. I need to emphasize
that's right.
There's not a lot of that in this area. So mothers, young adult women, pull up. Like, we are definitely there to support and help you. So under that umbrella, we have services such as yoga and meditation for BIPOC and Black women. Ayala runs that, and it's excellent. It's a wonderful way to ground yourself, to just give yourself that moment that you need just to really regroup and just focus on self, that self-care that you may not be able to get Monday through Fridays. On Sundays, definitely check out our website, www.womensinitiative.org. Check it out. We also have narrative group therapy that Allison is doing, and she's doing an excellent job. Like, for my creative women who like really are in tune with that pen and pad, they like a wordsmith, spoken word, like narrative is the place where you want to be. It's already started, it's closed, we'll be doing it again. But we also have Kishara, who did a writing group through hip hop and music, and that like blew people's minds, because you can heal yourself through things that we're already doing. We're just trying to teach you how to like really center self on that part. Like, music is your thing. There is healing in listening to a good old Mary J. Blige song when you're going through something. You know, you go ahead and take out that journal and start writing. Like, these are things that we're already doing. We're just trying to get you to that next level of how to really support yourself mentally and physically, because it's all intertwined. We also have walking things that we do in the springtime. Like, we did a gardening event with Cultivate Seaville, where we just had Black and BIPOC women come in to the garden and just have that moment of just grounding, centering, being with sisters, right? Because there is healing properties in being in a community with the people that you love. And there's healing properties in being able to connect with the earth. And so what Sister Circle is really doing is we're really trying to like make everything feasible, affordable, and very accessible to Black women in the community, BIPOC women in the community that are really looking just to be healed, just to be held, to be seen, to be supported. So please, please, please pull up. We are here.
That's right. That's right. Hey, look, you make. Can I join? Can I attend? Because
I mean, it is the women's initiative, but you know, I'm gonna go ahead and plug him, because I always plug him. If I do Nicholas right, Gene Cash, they can hook you up.
That's right. Hey, that's our people. She said Nick too.
That's family.
Yeah, Gina, Nicholas, for sure. I'm just saying.
I got a question. Can I ask you a question?
All right, I'm giving it.
Yeah, this is because okay, let me formulate this correctly. Because I'm trying to come up with what I can give the younger Black men of Charlottesville, right? So this question is for the women, so I can know how to get the younger men, in a better place. When you take the female, the Black female, you call it BIPOC, what you call it? BIPOC. All right, when you take them and you give them so many resources and different outlets, and they become the best version of them, what kind of man is it going to take to be able to cultivate that and add value in that family?
Okay, so
it wasn't bad,
but that was deep. It wasn't bad, but it was deep.
That part. Okay, so for me, when I think of what you just said, I heard, how can men be there too? And so for men in the families and in the communities to be able to show up and be their authentic true self, like, we gotta give them those tools and supplies. Like, get in tap with your emotions. Like, that ain't nothing wrong with being emotional. Like, you get upset and you gotta like cry, you gotta, scream. Like, and I'm referencing like my brothers in Prolific, because like that space is safe. You can have all range of emotions in that space, but you got to be able to be vulnerable in that moment. You got to be able to take yourself there, right? Because we all know anger is accepted in our community for Black men. But what about sadness? What about heartache? What about pain? What about struggle? Like,
that you're not allowed to. I'm sorry. I don't care what people say on Facebook and whatnot. It's one of those things you really not allowed. All right, let me say this. When we reference great Black men of color, we reference strength. We reference wisdom. We don't reference tears.
So what's to say that crying isn't a form of strength? Like, I'm strong enough to be vulnerable in front of you. I'm strong enough and confident in myself to show you all of me, to expose all of me to you.
I can give you 10 examples to where they destroyed Tyrese and other people when they, like, you had a man crying about his child and the community ate them alive.
Toxic male masculinity.
Yeah, but also, and this is just being honest, if a man says that he has a problem with something that might be legitimate, he could be looked upon as trying to find an out or play victim or anything else, right? In general, I'm just saying, like, I mean, because a woman needs a strong man, she doesn't need somebody with excuses. She doesn't need somebody like, and that's just.
I hear where you coming from, like, legit. But so at some point, we have to acknowledge what the issue is, so we can have a plan to be better than that. Like, yes, I want you to be vulnerable. I want you to be transparent. I want you to express that. But we can't just stay in that expression stage, right? We got to put some action back there, right? Yeah. And so that's what we're really talking about is like, I want you to acknowledge, like, you got some trauma, you got some stuff that you're dealing with. Like, please, let's vocalize it. Let's talk about that. But then, like, you got to be willing to do that next step. Like, go talk to one of my peoples. Like, go find your support group. Like, go find what you need. Like, that's that other part of it. Like, I ain't gonna never tell nobody they not supposed to feel what they feel, because that's their feelings. They gonna own them. I want you to own that. And if you really like at a place where, like, damn, I want to do better. Like, I gotta be better.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me show you this group of this person. Let me help you. Let me show you this mentor. Like, it's people out there, but we got to be able to actually, like, take that hand, right? I think that's part of the problem. Like, we get stuck in, like, talking about it, and as the world will say, complaining about it, but then we don't have that next action step. So, like, let's go ahead and figure out, like, where you are on this plan of action. If you just in contemplation, you just thinking about it, or you at the place where you just want to talk about it, and then you at the place where you want to act on it. Like, I can meet you wherever you at, but you let me know where you're coming from.
Right.
You don't think there's too much to ask of women? Like, now let me explain. Let me explain, right? Y'all already have to work. Y'all have to tend to the house. Y'all got to take care of the kids. Y'all got to be respectful in the community. You're trying to get better education. And now you got to turn around, and guys, don't get mad at me when I say this. You got to raise another child.
Second
Are
child.
you snorting up in there?
I asked you not to make me laugh. I asked you. This is what I got to go through.
Second childhood. As a lot of people say.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, why would a woman want to raise another child?
So if you are my partner, if you are my brother, if you are my friend, I want to be that person that you can talk to. I'm not going to carry that burden for you because I have safe boundaries. Let's be clear. I'm not going to carry everything because I can't. But, like, I can be that sounding board, and then I can, like, help you navigate. But it is up to that male to actually find, like, his community, his support. Shameless plug. Prolific has a men's group that meets once a month.
That's right.
Pull up there too. Like, these are places, these are resources. Shout out to Daniel Farley for also doing things within the male Black community. Like, these are resources. Shout out to Gene Cash for making spaces in Black communities. Nicholas Wright. Like, these are people. I'm shamelessly plugging them. Yes, I am, because right now we're talking about Black community.
That's right.
And these are the resources that are readily available. Like, they're there. They don't have a problem with you, like, reaching out to them via Instagram or Facebook, whatever sources you have. You don't have their direct contact. They will definitely connect you. I've worked with all of them before in the past, and they will do it. Shout out to CBCC and SRS.
That's right. And Razor, I think that's the point that's been made too, is that there's so much toxicity that has to be dealt with and overcame. It's like, so we do have, and actually Juanika posted, someone asked on Twitter yesterday if we too often carry trauma like an heirloom. You know what I mean? And I think as a people, that is That is very true. Because whether we think it's cool or whether we have the toxic masculinity that makes us act out or respond to our emotions in negative ways, right?
Or you just don't know you're carrying it.
Yeah. So so to your point, shouts out to Littles and Will, because the prolific men's group is definitely a great space. I've been there myself, and it's just beautiful because of course, like, you know, I have some close acquaintances to where I feel comfortable where, you know, like where we let off steam with each other, you know, but to be in a space like that where you see men, majority Black men, that are there looking at each other like, bro, I trust you right now. And I'm going to do some things and I don't think anybody's hearing me. You feel, I mean, that's powerful, bro. And I feel like if we did more of that, then absolutely, yes, like we could overcome a lot of this, you know, toxicity, you know, as we say.
I got to get to that point. Like, and this is for
a lot of us
the ones that, like me, that I'm an only child. I was a latchkey kid. I never ran home to get nobody when there was trouble because I had nobody to go home to get. You know what I'm saying? So I look at it like when I fall, everything behind me falls, right? Or changes dynamic. So I have to get, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, I have to get to that point because literally I will go down with the ship before I ask for help. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I will. It's almost like I will commit suicide before I ask for help, just because I don't know nothing no different.
Yo, you know what I made me think of, Juanika? Like, so there's a book, and I'm mad nobody told me about this book before I found out about it. But Huey P. Newton has a book called Revolutionary Suicide. Revolutionary suicide, and that's what you just made me think of, because it's about, because you know how sometimes overwork can be a trauma response. It's like revolutionary suicide is when you're willing to put your neck on the line for what you believe is right, even when the world may be against you, or you know you may heartfelt fully believe like that you're doing the right thing, but people will come at you for doing the right thing. You know what I mean? Like, and then sometimes the powers that be will, you know, like we even give you the devices, the tools to destroy yourself. You know, so you don't succeed. But that's what you made me think of.
Absolutely.
Can I add something in this conversation?
Yes, Miss Max. I've been waiting for you. I've been waiting for you, Max. Come on here.
I was quiet. Of course, everybody's question is important, and you know what y'all are discussing, people need to hear. So I was kind of laying back because of that reason, but also because I was trying to give this topic and the women's initiative some deep thought, right? So Lanika, I'm looking at your website and I'm thinking, okay, if I were to come into the women's initiative, sit down with somebody, kind of talk about what's going on with me, I think that I would put all of my concerns, aspirations, questions, you know, emotions in 3 buckets, and those being family, survival, probably family and survival and emotions, right? Yeah, probably say that, family, survival, and emotions. And I guess ultimately the reason why I would be sitting down with you is because I just want to be happy, right? And I know people are listening. I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of every other woman that's potentially listening to this interview right now, right? But ultimately, when we sit down with someone in the mental health field, we just want to be happy, right? We want to be the best versions of ourselves, as Reza referred to. And we don't know how to get there. So what I'll let you respond to that, because I don't know if I necessarily have a question in it, but I can set that up because I think generally that is what's going through every woman's mind, right? We raising kids, we're trying to maintain a household, we're trying to figure out, we're doing work, we're stressed about it, we don't have work, we're trying to pay bills, and then emotionally we may be dealing with internal junk, the past traumas, what's going on in present day and stuff like that, trying to maintain that. And so to sit down with someone in your facility or whatnot, where do we start? Because I just want to be happy, and I don't know if I know what happiness looks like.
Mm.
How do I know when I get there? I can create potentially add something potentially to that emotions bucket, because now I'm stressed out about how to get to that happiness, and not getting there fast enough, and looking like I'll never arrive, and things like that. Um, I think all of us go through that at some point or another in our life, and for shorter periods of time and longer for others.
That's
So
right.
where do we begin? How do you respond? What are your thoughts when you hear me explain that?
So my first thought is I need you to come to our call-in walk-in clinic, which is we have for Black women. I'm going to say this: we have assigned days for Black clinicians to be there. So Monday call-in, Tuesday walk-in Jefferson School, Wednesday walk-in main office East High Street. Those are the times where we have Black clinicians there to do assessments, which is basically our intake. So the first step is getting you either on that phone or through the doors, so that you can at least express with someone exactly where it is, where you are, because we're going to meet you where you are.
That's right.
Tell us where you are, what it is that you are currently holding, and what you want support with. And I also want to put a note there: we are not a crisis center. This is for women who truly are like at a place where they want to do outpatient care. Again, call-in walk-in clinic. It is Monday through Thursday, but on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we have clinicians of color. Also, we have Latin speaking on Wednesday as well. I want to definitely shout out Nina Starr, because they're doing amazing things too for the brown community. But the first step truly is just coming in, calling in, and starting there. Like, the hardest part is like what we used to say before pre-pandemic is getting through the door, right? The hardest part is opening up the door to a clinical center and saying, this is where I feel I find myself being, this is where I need to be, right? So once you make that first step, and we do our best to make sure everyone feels welcome that comes through our doors, just to be able to meet you where you are. And what that looks like is you sharing with us just a snippet of your background. Like, again, it is an intake, so we can't give you an intake and a whole counseling session, but we can hear you, we can see you, we can hold space with you, and we can help you in that sense of we are a community, we are sharing sisterhood, we are meeting your energy, as in I see you hurting, and I want to be there to support, right? As a clinical therapist, right? And so the first step truly is, and again, that is listed on our website, our call-in walk-in clinic, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is when we have clinicians of color available. If you prefer to talk to a Black or brown clinician, you can state that. And I also want to say this, please hear this loud and clear. No one will be offended if you say, I want to talk to a Black clinician. We have a lot of people in the community that are afraid to say exactly what it is that they want their therapist to look like when they are faced with what we call our traditional clinicians, right? We have the white woman that meets you at the door. We get afraid to say it. There's no shame in saying, I'm carrying this load. And when you assign me somebody, I want somebody that's from my community. I want someone Black. I want someone brown. There's no shame in that. We recognize that is a need, and that's why we're working so hard with the Sister Circle program, with the Women's Initiative, just to allow that support to be present in the community.
Yeah,
So just pull up.
Thank you for that.
On.
And
So
I want the women that are listening right now, whether you're listening for yourself, you're listening for somebody else, like that whole scenario that I set up is something that we all find ourselves in, a space that we find ourselves living in at some point or another, and maybe even constantly. It's just it's normalized. It's our regular way of life. That was me breaking down my own personal feelings or thoughts.
Right.
And so I hope that what people also heard is, dang, I fit, like she kind of just described me to me. And so I want you to understand that you're not going through some unique situation that many, many other women, Black women, aren't dealing with as well, right? So understand that you're not alone in that. But also really hear Miss Lanika's response in that, which is that they're there to help. There's no, judgment in seeking help. Actually, really, that's good for you. That would be a step forward, right? But there's no judgment there. And if you need help, no different if you go to the doctor because you stub your toe or whatever. If you need help, you go get treatment, right? Because you can't fix some of these issues on your own. That's really all I have to say.
Thank you.
I got a good question to come back and break, though.
All right. Me too.
I gotta go. I gotta load it.
Me too. Yeah, so family, stay tuned. Tell a friend. You don't want to miss it. Much more show. We're only halfway through the day. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor, hit us online. I am HO Talk Show. We're here at the station doing this break. 434-422-9101. Right here, right now, we're talking with none other than Sister Circle, Juanika Howard. Stay tuned. Be right back.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Oh, Lord Jesus. Let me go ahead and pray.
Yeah.
I am HO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
I am HO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
I am HO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
I am HO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
Ho Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 101.3 Jams.
Ho Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 101.3 Jams.
Ho Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 101.3 Jams.
All right, Miss Max.
She gonna get some work.
Gotta get the people with it. Gotta get the people what they want. I mean, I was gonna play another song, but the conversation is so rich and vibrant up in here, Miss Max and family, that we was like, let's go ahead and bring it back in.
Yeah, she gonna get this.
That's good.
Pray for me, y'all.
Don't worry about him, Juanika. Don't worry about him. He like one of those Razor's like a pit bull, like, but his owners treat him good. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you think they scared.
Oh, that's funny. I heard a lot of analogies, Max, but I ain't never heard that one.
I mean, because you know they say like a pit only means if the owners make them mean.
Right.
But they still look scary.
Yeah.
No, but family, we still here with Juanika Howard, Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor. So, Miss Max, like what I was thinking is like we transition a little bit and we can close out with Juanika, with some final comments, questions, from her sister circle vantage point. But Miss Max, just like we started the show, I feel like now is just as good a time as any, to really speak with our people. We talked about the unfortunate violence that continues, that plagues our communities and our young people. And we are serious about finding a solution about that. And we know that it takes unity. We know that it takes trust. We know that it takes love. And unfortunately, that's something that's been sort of, quite frankly, whipped out of us and beat out of us. And we have these mental stigmas around trusting each other. But we know that that's what it's going to take, for us to get along. So we have that standpoint, right? Like the violence within our communities inflicted by our own. And unfortunately, police brutality is something that still exists. That apparently hasn't been enough measures taken when it comes to being able to hire, the right law enforcement folks. And in the more recent case, show our respects to Tyree Nichols. This law enforcement ended up being Black men, just like him. And of course, that's nothing new. Of course, Black men in law enforcement has long been an issue in many communities where we felt like some, of course, we're not boxing everybody and we're not overgeneralizing. But the fact is, sometimes Black law enforcement, when you think you're hiring them for Black communities, they also are trying to get a leg up. They also trying to gain respect from, from their offices, from their departments.
What did the slave
so
catcher
they don't
look
act
like?
anymore. Exactly. Sometimes you gotta.
Yeah, slave catcher was Black.
Yeah. So there you go, right? But I say all that, just to sort of bring us up to speed, Juanika, because as you see my shirt, right?
The bad part about that, Charles, and I've been, police didn't put their foot in my butt when I was a kid, so I've been on the other side of that. I just walked away from it. But not playing devil's advocate, but still being honest. Memphis is first 48. And regardless of how skinny this kid was, I'm not justified, so please don't nobody get mad at me, but it don't take but 7 pounds of pressure to pull a trigger. Right? I feel you. So, but that threat didn't seem to be there, though. Wait a minute. The city has the threat. I feel you. So when you have officers that are dealing in that type of environment, right, it's almost like junkyard dogs. They're going to be that way regardless because of the threats they may encounter. Like it's wrong, 100%. But when you have authority figures in that position, you almost need a necessary evil, so to speak, to subdue it. And that is the ideology and the logic that a lot of them use when it comes to how our military go into other countries, like Saddam Hussein, all them type people, right? How some of these police officers are gym rats and just work out and be on, like all types of pills to get strong and all this crazy stuff, right? Because they're training for the what if. Now, because the what if is their mindset, it's almost like a high school kids jumping and beating on one kid that's not fighting back. As one hits, it infuses the next one to do the next thing. And before you know it, that testosterone is what's leading it. It has nothing to do with law and order. But you turn around and we were talking about the rappers that got killed in Memphis, going to the store and all this type of stuff, right? And then we send the law enforcement to go find that killer, that senseless killer. It's the same officer. So you send in the same junkyard dog. So and they have mental trauma too. You're gonna you're gonna have casualties of war, so to speak, in this type of situation. I'm not saying I understand it. I'm just saying I understand how this plays out sometimes. And Max, the last thing I wanted to say, leading into really want you or Juanika to take this question. The last thing in this Tyree Nichols case is that by accounts, like when he ran, and like kind of like Reza saying, like I talk about accountability a lot, like but at the same time, this was way too excessive. And like one mistake that he made is that he did ran. They said that he was only 80 yards away from his parents' house. And they said he ran in a direction and he was yelling for his mom. So Max and Juanika, that's why I want y'all to come in. We have yet another Black man
that before he dies, he's crying for his mother.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to actually let Juanika, and I'm sorry for pronouncing your name wrong earlier, take the question. But I will say that I have viewed some of the video footage from that incident, and from my perspective, he did call out for his mom multiple times, but because he was in such close proximity of where she lived at, it sounded like he was calling her, to get her attention, to get her to come. Not much different than a George. This is crazy how we even have to analyze this. Census is, but it's much different than when George Floyd called for his mom. In his moments of dying, like he was calling just to try to get help, hey, I'm here, I'm over here. It was kind of like that, but still very horrible situation. And I'll let Juanika go ahead and respond to it.
So my first thought is we're talking about trauma response, like fight, flight, or freeze, or calm. And for him, his safety, his comfort was at his home with his mom. So when you are responding from a trauma brain, only thing you know is what you know.
Yeah.
What he knew was his mama was going to be there for him. His mama was going to protect him, right? Like if we're going to talk about it, we're going to talk about it. And for us in our community, home for a lot of people can be that safe space. Home can be that place where you're protected. So as I hear everyone sharing their insight and their takeaways from this event, I'm hearing trauma response. I'm hearing his mama that's his hero, that's his protector, that's his comfort. So you're damn right. I'm having a hard time. I'm having a stressful time. I'm calling that person I know. That's always been there, that's always grounded and centered me, protected me, provided for me. And that's what you hear in these men. Like they know mama. They know what mama provides. They know that energy that mama gives that only mama can give. At the end of the day, mama is going to make it all right. And that's where we're coming from. And that's what I'm hearing in that trauma response. I'm sorry about that.
No, I feel you.
I don't want to go too deep in.
Okay.
I just get real excited about my Black community. Look, I'm getting hoarse. They had me yelling too much last night. Listen, I get real sensitive about my Black community because it's important. Like,
that's right.
Trauma is embedded and embedded in all of our DNA, whether we choose to acknowledge it or admit it, like in some way, shape, or form, whether it's firsthand or secondhand. We've all experienced it just by the color of our skin.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Systems are developed and built for a reason. And I'm going to say it, it's always been against us. Okay, so yes, please do what you need to do. Like form an alliance with other people, like have your community, have your safe space where you can go to really find your support. Like reach out, find out other ways that you can cope when you're having like all this stuff that's being dumped on us right now, like with this media, with this situation that's going on, right? Because that can lead us to our own journey of self-destruction if we allow it, right? So this is where we do the hard stuff. Like we choose a different path, right? If it's a group where we just process, we just meet each other and just talk about it. All right. If it's counseling, like this is what we do. All right, I'm gonna say this one too, and I might not get a lot of praise from it. If it's your pastor, like if you got that relationship in religion, pull up. Like have some place to go where you can talk about this stuff, right? And it's related to like the violence that we see in our own community, right? It's no different. Like we all are struggling with something.
That's right.
And it's real. All right. People dying in these streets. It's real. It's real.
Right.
All right. So before we get to that place where like my only out is to pull this trigger, please pause for one moment. Like find somebody, find your mama, find your big mama, find your brother, whoever it is, find that sis that really is going to sit there and talk with some logic. Like, and we're not talking about somebody that's going like, yeah, go F them up. No, because at the end of the day, I want to see you more than just for these few hours.
Ooh, that's right.
Right. And so I want everybody to grow old. So in order for us to do that, we got to be on this side of the earth.
Lord, I can't wait for my question.
And you know what?
Pray for me. Pray for me.
Hey, Max, I'm sorry, Max.
You talk about.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just telling Miss Juanika when she talks about trauma response, specifically following her response to what happened in Memphis.
Right.
So I had a trauma response to just seeing that footage and hearing it because I have 6 boys. So I can imagine any one of my boys calling out to me in a similar situation. And that stuff, it stays with you. You worry about it. You almost make yourself sick from it because it's possible. One bad decision, one wrong officer, one anything, then that could be my kid. And my heart, it just yanked my heart out to hear him, calling out for her. Because like you said, you could definitely recognize that she was the safe space.
Yeah. And Max and Juanika, it just has to be like an elevated level of attention or conversation when it comes to these incidents. I don't know if there's anything that you can share, or maybe just a word of encouragement you want to give. I just got to imagine that when parents, like raising myself too as fathers, but also definitely mothers, because of the depth of what we're talking about in this instance that we all have shared. But I'm just curious, like, what that level of encouragement may look like specifically when a mom or sister or whoever comes in and is like, I'm just scared right now. It's kind of like how Max talked about. Some people just want to be happy. Some people don't want to be scared. Some people, it's like, I get scared when my child gets on the school bus or walks to school. I get scared when they go to the mall with their friends. When there should be times you're enjoying, their teenage life and or young adult life, just exploring the world and finding yourself. But they're just scared. Like, what does that counseling look like?
So that's
support.
That's for real.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna lie, during the height of the pandemic, a lot of our women, a lot of our mothers were coming in and seeking support because they were struggling with being able to ground themselves. All of the media that was coming in, like, there was so much killing. There was so much just trauma being pumped into us, right? And it's not like it's new, but now we can see it, like we can actually see it versus hearing the story or reading about it in the paper. We are seeing it, like live streaming content. We're seeing it, and it fills your body. So that is you carrying like that stress, that anxiety, that trauma in your body 24 hours a day, especially if you are a parent or if you have a loved one that matches these descriptions. Like for me, I got a nephew son. My nephew son is my everything. He knows that all the time. But like, I had to step away from like watching that content. So the first thing we tell some of our women that come in that are really struggling with that is like, give yourself some protector, give yourself some barriers, some structure where like, maybe you read the article, but you don't see all of the clips. For myself, I did not see any of the clips because I had enough.
Yeah, respect.
And I couldn't do it, right? I read articles and I focused on his life while he was in the living and when he was doing his passions, right? And it sounded like a beautiful soul and his energy sounded magical. And I appreciate that part of him, right?
That's right.
But when we have women that come in through the Women's Initiative, they're really seeking that support. Like, I get it. I know exactly what you're talking about, that we can hold space here and then we're going to work on like some type of coping strategies that can help you manage that depression, that anxiety, that trauma response that you initially want to react to and just want to, keep your child inside. Like, no, you ain't going outside. I don't care if it's around the corner. No, you ain't going out there today, right? Because then we're also denying our kids like that experience of just life, right?
Yeah.
And I never wanted to steal anyone's joy or just exploratory time from anyone, right? And so it comes a time when we do the work internally so we can learn to like let go of some of that stress, some of that anxiety. And that looks like finding a support system. That looks like finding your coping strategies. That looks like finding a clinician. That looks like figuring out how do I ground myself in that moment. That looks like meditation. That looks like walking. That looks like listening to your music. That looks like journaling. That looks like prayer. That looks like community. Like all the things. Like that's when you really have to call in all your resources, right? Because it's not gonna go nowhere. Like we're not gonna wake up and not be Black no more.
That's right.
So we really got to do that work that really centers ourselves, that supports ourselves. And I'm gonna say this: we got to do the work as a community. Like we got to build strong communities again. Like real talk. I grew up when the community was watching me. If I didn't stop at the corner of my little bike, listen.
That's right.
They already told my grandma before I got back around the corner again.
That's right.
That bike went up in the house for the rest of the day. So
that's right. Nowadays, you better not say nothing to nobody's child.
Well, I'm glad you said that,
Yeah. Before we let you go.
I stretched my hands to me, Lord. I stretched my hands to me.
I'm so glad y'all painted that beautiful picture that all three of y'all talking about.
So did you want to ask yours first or me ask mine first?
Oh, you want me to go?
Look, they loaded, y'all. They loaded. They coming for me.
Yeah, you kind of did. You like? Okay, go ahead. Ask your question. You gonna stay over past 2 o'clock?
I can.
Okay.
I mean,
pray for me, y'all.
I mean, you know,
they ready.
Yeah, go ahead, y'all.
And we gotta stay on schedule though, so I'm gonna make mine quick.
Okay.
Bottom line, before you go, the brothers want to know, what do the sisters want?
Oh, we can time it together.
Oh shit.
Because at the end of the day, because Miss Max, at the end of the day, men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
What did you really ask, Sir Charles?
Yeah. So we both think we right. So I know that when the sisters come in your office, Juanika, complaining about us, it has to be something that's
lay it up.
It has to be something.
Okay.
That's a consistent that you can share with the brothers listening over these airwaves.
Put the
right
gravy on it, Charles. I love this man.
So that when we get home, we ain't sleeping on the couch, Juanika.
Max, you want to be right. Mr. Max, you can help me, right?
Well, I'm in with Charles.
Oh no.
Right?
Okay.
Oh man, me and this joke. Okay. Now, this is for you and Max to answer kind of. I need both of y'all to take off your professional hats. Look at what Charles just asked you. And I need to know from our sisters when the divide comes from when you will knock down hell for your sons, but then chastise us as we get grown. The love y'all have for the love y'all have for the young Black male that's yours, your nephews, your sons, is not what we have that Black women show older Black men or middle-aged Black men.
I don't think I have the professional expertise to answer that one.
Oh no, you ain't backing out this one.
No. Go ahead and, you know.
Mr. Max, I need you.
She said she'll give the last 2 minutes to Juanika. She said she defers her minute to Juanika.
Yeah, but Black men want to know, when does that line get drawn? Because the love we get shown as a kid and how y'all stand up in front of everybody, and you better not talk to my baby, is different than how the middle age, or from 18 to 40, Black male gets treated by his own self.
All right. Now be real, like Mr. Alexander said. Be real in your response.
That's why I'm over here meditating.
Okay. We need to take a break.
Oh,
good?
I'm going to get my all. Pray for me, y'all. So we're going to start with Charles first. It might sound like a little bit easier. So the women, they're looking for support. They're just looking for help. Like they know that they have their responsibilities, their things to carry. But across the board, we just hear just a helping, right? And so that looks like.
So y'all didn't turn the man into the woman?
Hold on.
Now, wait a minute.
My bad, I'm sorry.
Pause. That looks like.
My Bible say you to help me.
That looks like, given time, right? Can I get 10 minutes before I get in the house before you ask for everything under the sun?
Yeah.
Like give me time to breathe. Give me time to deep breath. Because that same society, that same world has been beating you up all day. You best believe it's been attacking me too. So give me my space, right? Let me go ahead and just get grounded. Let me know that this is my safe space as well. And we can conquer this together, but give me some time, right? And so we hear that, right? Because their shift from hat to hat never gets like a pause. There's never a rest break. So when they come home from work all day, immediately it's mommy and wife and those responsibilities that come along with it. And so we hear a lot of like, I don't have me time. I don't know what self-care looks like. I don't have time because I got to do this, that, and that, and the other, right? And so we hear overwhelming, like, how can I do? Y'all tell me self-care is good, but how can I apply it in my life? What would that look like? And so for the men,
and you know what, something, Miss Juanika, I actually, and I'm in much better control of this now than what I used to be, but I actually started to get anxious when I started to think about everything that I had to do. Let's say once I get home after work, you know, so then that may have prompted me to not respond to someone patiently when they had a question or needed me to do something or different things like that, because it's, you know, you're just looking at, you're feeling overwhelmed because you're looking at all these different things that, you know, you have to do and demands you have to meet and things like that. But go ahead, finish your answer.
Bingo, that's all I need. I just need a little backup. That's all.
No, I'm with you.
So like, yes, that is like the overall, like, just give space, right?
Yeah.
And if you recognize your partner coming in home struggling, like, baby, like I know we supposed to go to the basketball game at this time, but I'm gonna give you this space. All right, go do whatever you need to do, right?
That's facts.
If that means
that's both ways.
My mama, she used to go to the bathroom. When she got home, she won't use the bathroom. She was just sitting there for 10 minutes, and that was her time. We could not ask for nothing. We couldn't say nothing. It was, you will wait till I'm done out this bathroom.
Respect
and then stuff would happen, right? And so space, time, self-care, like, that's the overwhelming message, right? And it ain't gonna be forever, right? Like, we all know that, like, this is a partnership. We know that we got things that we have to do, but allow that time for self-care. Okay.
So I think, so my response to Charles's question, what time is it? Do we need a break?
Yeah, I was gonna say, Max, let's go ahead and hit this hour break. When on the other side, we'll come right back to it. So hold your thought, and then also give Juanika a chance to get some water, take a breath before answering Razor.
Okay.
How you made sure, y'all?
I need some jumping jacks.
Now, see, my answer will be different from, I'm a non-traditional person.
Okay.
So
Here we go, Miss Max.
Only on 101.3 Jams.
Yes. I am HO Talk Show. Sir Charles Razor, Miss Max. Back like we never left with Miss Juanika Howard. And I'm not going to prolong the people. We had to get Juanika to stay just a couple minutes over, just so we could make sure that we finish properly on this enriched conversation. So I think where we left off is Max was going to provide her feedback to my. Juanika was going to take a stab at Razor, and and then we will continue on. But Miss Max, what you got?
Yeah. So I think my response to pose the question again. Pose it again.
Oh, mine was simple. Mine was just like, what is it that the sisters say they want? Like when y'all are counseling amongst each other. See, I'm asking y'all to break a little girl code, and I know y'all know that because y'all smarter than us. But if you want us to do right, you gotta let us know because like we simple.
Yeah.
Like our brains ain't as complex.
Logic.
Yeah.
You walk in the rain, you get wet. That's it.
What you mean, Razor? Okay. No, but I think that what a woman wants has to be defined by that woman.
True.
So that can be, what may be on someone's list of wants out of her significant other may not be on the next woman's list. And so I think we first have to understand that, right? Because if you out here buying tulips and I don't like tulips, I like roses, then you're getting it wrong. So
Facts.
I think that, figuring out what a woman wants really comes down to not asking women as a monolith, but asking that specific person and communicating what she specifically wants. So for this woman, however, I think that I think the things that would be on my list are love, respect, honesty, transparency, protection, provision. Yeah, I think that's the top ones. But it also, what makes a difference in that list is how the woman defines what those things look like, right? Instead of taking them for surface, what they may mean on the surface level, right? Just what does it mean to love you? Okay, I do this, and that. That's what it means, right? And it may not necessarily mean those things for that particular woman. So yeah, communicating to find out what love exactly looks like, what protection looks like to you, things like that.
Thank you for that.
Yep.
All right, Juanika, do you need Razor to rephrase?
Yes, please repeat the question.
Okay. Now, based off of everything that y'all have said at the close of the show, right? How men need to be the support, how men need to be there for the women, right? How looking at these horrific things that happen to young black men and how your heart goes out and how y'all feel all this, right? I understand all that. But my question to you is the love that y'all give your sons or young black men, the protection that y'all give them, why does that not extend from like 18 to like 40? Because a lot of black women don't love black men the way that they love black children. Why is that?
So I'm going to say the love is still there. The love may look differently to you because the expectation is with age comes wisdom, with age comes maturity, with age comes more responsibility, right? And so when you're adding in those factors, the expectation, the bar just rose a little bit higher, right?
That's right.
And so I believe within my heart of hearts, the love is still there. But now you are being asked to meet a higher level, a higher standard. And so with that love also comes a higher level or a greater level of disappointment. And so we can't talk about
That's good.
love without talking about disappointment, right? And heartache, right? Because I believe Black woman still cares for the Black man, still cares for the Black community. And we show up over and over again. So it's documented. We still there. But we're also carrying like our own hurt, our own things that we're dealing with those errors, with those mistakes. And it may present itself as less than what you're used to or less than what you got as a child, right? But you know, you are now transcending into manhood. For me and mine, I'm going to always love y'all. Going to always love you. Y'all going to get this tongue lashing because I'm going to tell you what I feel and how I feel and how I perceived it. But I'm going to always love you. So I don't think that love changes. But the disappointment.
What I just now heard you say from the man point of view, that was very good and nice, right? But what I just heard you is that even though I'm out here fighting in the world, I'm going to have to fight at home too.
And you don't want to do that. Neither side.
Okay.
You know,
So for all the women that said, good
I-
answer, Lanika, nice way to answer. I'm telling you from a Black male perspective, regardless of, it's almost like a man that puts his hands on his wife and still calls it love. If I got to come home and listen to the chastisement and the disappointment after I done went out here and I fight in a world that you know is set to unhinge my position in my own family, what type of man do you expect me to be walking around here in these streets? Why would I not take somebody else like that look like me?
So if I can't tell you how I feel about a situation and you are my partner and you can't hold that same thing that I'm holding for you, then what kind of partnership do we have?
Elevated
what type of community do we have? That's what I'm saying.
For me and mine in my household, we gonna talk. We gonna talk about stuff. We gonna process stuff. And we might not like each other while we processing, but at the end of that processing, we gonna still come back together because what was built on that foundation should be able to withstand any type of conversation that we're having.
How do we have conversation, but we don't have when we always don't have understanding? Because a lot of times women, and this is just over the course of me being a barber for 30 years, men come in there and talk to me all the time, is that we don't understand each other. Just like Max said earlier, I'm showing you what I think love is, but if you don't compute it as love, then my efforts went for nothing. And how do you expect me to walk around with that badge and still be a proud Black man, as you tell me I was as a young child?
So you're talking about communication and process. And that's another thing I think that we struggle with, and especially in like an age where we're moving more into texting. Like we're talking about communication style. You also hinted at like love languages, but like we have to be able to have those deep and rich conversations before we get to the fire, so that way we know how to support and treat each other, because we're gonna have to have these difficult conversations. Nothing gets swept under the rug in my house. We're gonna have these difficult conversations, but our conversation and our way that we process, the way that we move with each other should be so solid that we are able to regroup and come back from that. And so that's the part that I hear you saying is missing. Like, this is the message I received, but I didn't process this right. So I'm always like, wait a minute. So is this what you said? Because this is what I heard. Wait a minute, because I'm feeling this right now. How is that supposed to be? All right, what are we supposed to do next? Because I don't like to live in a land of confusion or misunderstanding. I need to know. So we can have these conversations. Your feelings can come up. You can express all the emotions you want. I'm going to express mine. But after we get there, we have got to have a place where we can continue to process, really support, have genuine conversations about where do we go from here? What do we do next? Right?
That's right.
Yeah,
and acknowledge our wrongdoings.
I think it's important for, all of the women that are listening right now to understand that no matter how old your child, your husband, your boyfriend, significant other, or whatnot may get, they still want to feel like you got their back, like they are protected by you in some sense too, and that's not necessarily something that I think us women think about, especially when dealing with your husband who is older and you think that he doesn't really necessarily need those things.
That's
but
big.
I think if hearing aids or have that discussion, we need to understand that men still want to feel that way. They still need that. Now, is it, I guess it's to be explained or debatable how women have to show up for that, because it is another demand. And so we would have to figure out a healthy way to be able to be that for them, as well as take care of ourselves and our other commitments. But I think there's something for women to note there that Yep.
Yeah. Well, thank y'all.
Yes.
We have we're gonna keep it going. And Juanika, don't be a stranger. We will have you back. But ladies and gentlemen, we have been joined by Juanika Howard of the Sister Circle and Women's Initiative. Great conversation, rich conversation. I'm sure the folks appreciate it. As you can see, the comments have been coming in. People have been engaged. So continue the great work, Juanika. Until next time we talk to you and see you.
Thank you. Please hit up women'sinitiative.org.
Yes, absolutely. I am H.O. family. Y'all staying there with us. We still got some more show left for you. We still will be joined by Dollz Fashion's house own Sabree. And then we're gonna hopefully have a little introduction of a political strategist as well, Miles Coleman, to round out today's show. So hey, you know how to reach us. Thank y'all who've been online. I am H.O. Talk Show, as well as during this break, got more questions, comments for us. 434-422-9101 on 101 Jam, Charlottesville's #1 for R&B, hip hop, and classics.
Great job. We gotta get some pictures taken.
I am H.O. Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
I am H.O. Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
I am H.O. Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
I am H.O. Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
HO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
HO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
HO Talk Show. Sir Charles, Miss Max Razor.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion, only on 101.3 Jams.
Yeah. IMHO Talk Show. Back at it again. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor, and I'll do a little business segment as well. Yes, we want to highlight one of our very own right about now. We have with us none other than Sabree, and she is founder of Dollz Fashion House. Did I get that right?
No, absolutely.
I didn't think so.
House Fashion.
I'm sorry, Dollz House Fashion.
I'm gonna need you to get it right before you start.
No, you're right. No, you're right. My bad. Hey, look, I got a lot to manage in these 3 hours, so my apologies. Yes. So some, the voice may be familiar, the brand may be familiar, but for some who it's not, let them know about this business endeavor that you undertake.
So I basically sell women's clothing. Most of it's sexy, like club wear. I like to, embrace women, whatever their version of sexy is. Whether it's a little bit of cleavage, off the shoulder, mostly club wear, evening wear. It's just I like for women to feel like good. And what they wear and comfortable in their skin. That's what I would probably describe it as.
I got a question for you real quick. You are one of the businesses that decided to go into the Fashion Square Mall, right? Mm-hmm. What does it feel like for a young Black lady of yourself? You grew up in Charlottesville too, right?
Yes.
To have a business, regardless of what the state of the mall is right now, to have a business in a place where you probably never thought that you would have. What type of accomplishment was that when you first wrote that contract?
It's so crazy because when I first came back to Charlottesville, one of my first jobs was being a janitor at the mall when they fired me. Okay. So it's kind of like one of the ladies, the lady that owned a Chinese food place, she been there like for forever. She, I used to work there when she was there, and it's crazy that now I have my own business in there.
Props.
And they fired me, so it's like,
She brought that up 3 times. You know what I'm saying? They let me go.
But I got it right now. Sabree of Dollz House Fashion. And Kate, so as we were saying, charging to my mind, not my heart, but you also like sharpen your chops here too on the airwaves, right?
Yeah,
some time ago.
Yeah, at one point I was doing that. I was running my mouth real heavy.
Hey, look, but seriously, I bring that up because it was props to you because for those who don't know, that was back. We started in like 2016, and like there was a big group, and a lot of folks got a lot of good experience, developed a lot of good relationships at that time too.
Yeah, shout out to Remy. I was
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Shouts out to the man. Yeah, so I wanted to mention that. But so Dollz House Fashion.
Yeah,
so
tell us about.
I want to kick it to Max. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Just tell us a little bit of background about the inception of your business. Why you decided on the product that you did, and just what motivated you to start your own business.
Yep.
So not to be long-winded, because it's kind of like a story behind it, but basically I went to Piedmont. I went to Piedmont for several different things. I met someone that got me into modeling, and I modeled for a couple of years. I moved up to New York, and I discovered that I didn't like the modeling industry, but I love the art of modeling. I love the way you can look at somebody, you can think of them like and say, I'm gonna put this hair on you, put this makeup on you, and I'm gonna put this outfit on you, and I'm gonna have this scenery, and I'm gonna create this beautiful portrait of you. So I realized that I really enjoy that part of it, and I always wanted to be a humanitarian in some type of way and give back in some type of way, just based upon how I grew up as a kid. So I feel like that's my way to contributing to the world, because I feel like if a woman look good, she gonna act good.
Yeah, she feel good.
She gonna be her best. A well-dressed woman is gonna be at her best. Yeah. I stand, by that, so that's pretty much what it is. And then Dollhouse really came from me looking, I always had a big head and a real skinny body. Not right now, but I used to look like a Bratz doll. So so that's where I get Dollhouse Fashion. Okay. So because I used to be obsessed with them as a kid. But yeah, in a very short way.
Let me ask you this on the business side of things. Oh, Max, did you have something else?
No, I was just congratulating her. That's all.
Yeah,
Thank
for sure,
you.
for sure.
Thank you.
When it comes to deciding, okay, let me go back a little bit. Because of the way social media is, right, and people can present themselves in any form of fashion that they decide, and it's ever changing. How do you go about picking out the clothing and the material that you're going to sell inside your store, so people can be able to show the world how they look, so to speak?
I stay true to me.
Okay.
Like if I'm gonna wear it, then I'm gonna put it in my store. So I feel like that's what kind of, I don't really follow trends. I follow what I like. If I will put this on and put this together, then I'm gonna buy it. You can always find some type of wild print, color, some type of wild design cutout, at my store. And and I like quality, because it's not really about what you have on per se, like name brand or anything. It's how you put it together, and I'm a strong believer in that. So I try to pick out quality pieces, but affordable, because I want everybody to feel like a celebrity, So that's how I pick things out. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. Because what I know from business is that, one, we don't pay ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So we have a whole lot of bosses, even though we may own the institution or the company. So when you have a field which is complex as what you're into, I always just wonder, because I don't have the eye to pick things out like that. So I just always wonder, what is it that somebody does to say, okay, this is what I'm gonna reach out to, and this is what I'm gonna show. How I'm gonna put this on this mannequin. How am I gonna get somebody to see these purples go with these greens and yellows? And I can't see that type of thing. So I was just wondering how you go about picking out your inventory.
So people that know me for a long time or has followed me, they know that I'm really known for wearing wild stuff or putting it on, So I think people kind of trust me. I don't know. So I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like a movement, or like a brand that you want to grow. Because I heard you mention the humanitarianism part, and all that type of stuff. Like, so what's some of your goals? Like you said, it's big to be able to set up shop in your hometown, right? But like where do you see this going? As a brand.
So by July, I want to open up my store in Chesterfield Town Center. By the end of the year, I want to have another space in like Potomac Hills or somewhere closer up towards DC. Like, I want to have a franchise. I want Dollhouse Fashion to be like a Fashion Nova of some sort, but like in store, I think a lot of the people are getting tired of ordering stuff offline. They don't know what the material is. It don't fit right. Everybody got a BBL online, so you really don't know how it's gonna look on you, So I feel like the in-store purchases are coming back, because ladies want to know like how it's going to look on me. Then they don't want to go through the trouble of returning it. So I think I got a lane, and people, a lot of business owners that do the same thing that I do. They want to order, like they don't want to. They scared to spend money, spend a bunch of money on their inventory. Like they rather get the $4 to $5 thing from this vendor versus spending the $9 to $10 and getting that quality, because it's going to be made right. You know what I'm saying? I rather purchase that $9 to $10 thing and not profit as much to start principle for my quality. You know what I'm saying? Like, and still be affordable, I'd rather do that.
Smart business.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
For sure. Yeah, so we are joined by Sabree.
Charles, one more question. Yeah. One more question. All right. You said that you went to New York, right? How difficult is it to get, we're a couple states away from New York, right? And we all know that certain places like New York, the fashion starts there, or the trends start there, right? How difficult is it to get Virginia customers to be able to see maybe New York trends before they see them on stars?
He pretty much said dealing with country folk. That's what he
people country, but the thing is with me is that when you come shop with me, you get a personalized experience.
Gotcha.
So what I do is I pair, because I know people body shapes.
So I can tell if a woman have broader shoulders and not so much of hips, or she is hippie, and I ask every woman that come in my store, like, what's your comfort level? You know, what do you like to wear? Do you like a bodysuit? Do you like a two-piece suit? And I'm honest, if something look a mess, it look a mess. I'm not going. So I usually pair stuff for people and put it and tell them to try it on and look in the mirror, because it's usually stuff that people won't necessarily put together on their own, and I show them how to put it on and how to put it together, and they like, huh, yeah, I really like this. And then you can just, you know, I mean, it's just a matter of me being proactive and making sure that and helping them put it together so they can see something, because everybody shop within their comfort, what they think that their body shape is, or what makes them feel like that looks good, you know, like
And so I sort of got a question in regards to your growth too. Is one, do you feel like that you're getting the support that you need, not only in your consumers, but also like just in like the business development aspect of it? The other part to that is how do you feel about networking? Because I feel like there's a lot of stylists and fashionistas or what have you in that area. Like how important do you feel like networking is, doing fashion shows together and stuff like that? So that's sort of a two-part question.
I think it's important, but I kind of like feel like I don't know how to say this without saying, like, I don't worry about what other people are doing for real. You know, I support other in the reference to other people being fashionistas and stuff. I'm not gonna lie, Charlottesville, when it comes to supporting each other, especially within our own community, a lot of people are very territorial. And they don't necessarily want to support other people because they don't want to see you potentially outshine them, you know, or whatever the case may be. But me personally, you know, I let other Black-owned businesses, you know, bring their stuff in my store, you know, and I sell it for them. I think people should be more like that. They should be more supportive. But I feel like with this town, to like a certain degree, it's like beating a dead horse, you know, because you can't change people. It's like crabs in a barrel type mentality here, and it's like I can't change people, you know, but it ain't nowhere to shop. So even if you really don't like me, you aren't going to pay anyway. So like, it don't even really matter at the end of the day.
Max, you had something?
One other question. Just to support, like from the business community, like helping you grow the business brand, grow you. Like this is kind of airways where you can say, hey, this you know. This is what we need,
So
you know?
I mean, I really like. It needs to be just in general in the mall, in the Fashion Square mall. Like it needs to be like news and articles or something being written out there, because there's no traffic out there. And people also don't know that if the spaces are there are very, very affordable to even bring small businesses in there to actually also like bring more traffic. It's just that I don't know. Like, I don't know the people. So a lot of people come in there and they say, I didn't even know that this was in here, you know, like, so I just kind of feel like it needs to be better advertisement. You know, the community needs to be like our community that knows people that have businesses. It's a lot of Black businesses at that. It's like 2 nail salons.
It's like 75%.
Yeah, it's like a lot of Black and you know, our community, we don't really share other people's stuff. When they are doing stuff, there's a lot of congratulations in the inbox and stuff like that. But they don't share stuff to help get the word out, you know, but to help us thrive, you know what I'm saying? So it's just
we gotta change that.
Yeah, so that's why I'm shooting. I like, well, I'm gonna hit up everybody I know, and I'm gonna advertise this myself, because I'm not about to be sitting up in here not making no money and not getting no traffic. You're not gonna get no traffic for me, so I'm going in here and get my own traffic. You know, so you gotta be proactive sometimes on your own and to make sure that you getting what you need to get. You know, and that's my responsibility because it's my business. You know.
Right. Go ahead, Miss Max.
Yeah, so the first thing I want to do is again congratulate Kay because it takes some effort and some initiative to open your own business, and to just go after your dreams. That's not light work, and so I just want to applaud you on your business venture. Um, you know, in some of your comments just now, I do want to say that I think we black people got to learn how to do better. We got to learn how to
For
support,
sure.
because if you're providing a product, a good product, and it's a credible company, then there's no reason not to support you off of someone's like or dislike for an individual or their emotions or whatnot. Like, we should all be invested in the betterment of our community and of Black people in general. And so that
Yep.
type of mentality is just is over. Like, we gotta figure out a way to get past that.
It's like a recurring theme, ain't it, Max?
Yeah, it is.
It's actually destroying our community,
Very
honestly.
narrow-minded.
Yeah.
Very narrow-minded. And I also want to say, like, I appreciate your edge. Like, at a certain point, I do feel like, and we have a food truck. At a certain point, people stop buying your product and they buy your brand. They buy who you are. They want to be attached to that, whatever that representation is. And I personally appreciate your boldness. I appreciate your edge, and I appreciate the way that you are using that to drive you to ensure the success of your business. So I want to tell you to keep climbing that ladder on that. And then I think I think the last thing that I want, and this is a question for you, let's say 10, 15, 20 years from now, continuing in the fashion industry, what is it that you are hoping to leave behind? How do you hope you will change the game of fashion?
Like, I would hope to change like people's minds, of basically like how they view, like one of the main things that I used to get a lot of feedback when I used to live here and used to model and do like bottle service is my outfits and how scandalous and how disrespectful people were, especially men, and then people would just basically make it seem like I didn't deserve respect based upon how I would dress. Like every other country, women's bodies, like they can have their boobs out, they can basically walk around nude and it's not frowned upon. Like, I don't feel like women should be judged upon how they are dressed. I don't want women to be feeling like that they can't wear whatever they want to wear and not be respected. You can wear whatever you want to wear, and you deserve respect too. Like, that's what I really want to change. I want to change people's opinion, and I want to change women's perspective. I don't know how to really say it, but I just want women to feel comfortable in whatever they put on and feel confident in whatever they put on and however they want to wear it, like comfortable in their own skin. Like, that's what I want to leave behind. Like,
no, you're saying it. It's clearly understood.
So you made a comment. I'm sorry, Max. Did I cut you off?
No, go ahead.
I'm saying you made a comment. Lastly, you made a comment when you came in at the end of the other interview, and you said what you wanted to add, what you would have added to that last interview. You said the book.
Oh,
right,
I said it's Bible.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The reason I wanted to bring that is because it's so important, because the way you like carry yourself, the way you look on the outside, and the way you feel. We actually had a listener chime in too, saying I spent years dressing up the outside very well. Today I'm undressing the inside because they have to match. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I know you can comment on that, but that comment that you made earlier kind of stood out to me, because that goes to show is like when you're helping somebody with their image, sometimes the image is inside out. Sometimes people are coming to you on how they feel on the inside, not necessarily how they look on the outside.
Yeah. I think like, I feel like I display my rawness at all times. Like, I'm a raw person. About 20 people can tell you that they know me, and whatever they gotta say, they can never say that I'm any different. Like, my fashion displays who I am. I don't care. I'm gonna do what I want, how I feel. I just cut all my hair off the other day because that's what I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? Dye my hair orange. My hair was Hair for shoulders, like, because that's what who cares?
That's freedom.
It's just hair. When you free yourself from other people's opinions and how other people feel, other people's limitations of you, you a free person. Like you can conquer the world.
Spot on. Hey, I think that's the perfect way to close that one up, Miss Max. So, okay, continue success to you. Let the folks know exactly where you're located and how they can reach out.
I am located in the Fashion Square Mall, right next to the K Jewelers. To the right, the old Sunglass Hut. So when you come into the food court of the mall, just keep walking and bear to the right. I'm right there next to the K Jewelers. And I'm open Tuesday through Saturday, 11 until 7 p.m.
That's what's up. Dollz House Fashion. I'm talking to K Sabree. Much continued success. Don't be a stranger. You got support here. Use these airwaves anytime you want.
Okay, thank you so much.
Right. Y'all stay tuned. We are going to be right back to close up with J Mouse, Coleman, political strategist, family. Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor. Thank y'all for staying tuned. Tell a friend, tell a friend.
Only choice for R&B, hip hop, and your favorite classics is 101.3 Jams.
All right, y'all, here we go. Fade this out. I am HO Talk Show, Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor. And we at the bottom of the show, and we want to do something a little different at the bottom of this show, something special for today. And thank y'all for staying tuned. And I want to thank none other than our final guest for today, Mouse Coleman, for joining us. He's a political strategist, and we just want to take time today to sort of introduce him to the family, to the community, WVA, IMHO, because Mouse, well, first, welcome. Good afternoon to you.
Oh, sure. Thank you guys for having me.
Yep. Thank you for joining us. As I told you, one thing that we do here is we, try to take Seville to the world, bring the world to Seville. But we are the only hip hop R&B station in town. And so a lot of times when we speak, Miles, we speak from the community's perspective. And then sometimes, we bring in the experts. We try to do that on a regular basis. But, one thing we hope to get from you and your team, your office in the future is, like when those real tough questions come and you got to really break it down and you really got to analyze it and you got to talk to all sides. Having such expertise. So why don't you let the folks know about who J. Miles Coleman is and the work that you do?
Yeah, sure. Well, thank y'all for having me again. My name is Miles Coleman. I'm originally from New Orleans, Louisiana. I came up here. I worked at the UVA Center for Politics. And we are at the University of Virginia. We're sort of Professor Larry Sabato's baby. We're like basically, we're we do what we're most known for is this newsletter called Sabato's Crystal Ball, which if you go to centerforpolitics.org/crystal ball, it's I like to joke that the price is right. It's free. You can sign up for it. You can get it straight into your inbox. And me and my team, we follow who's running for what races. We make predictions. Some of the other things we do at the Center for Politics is we have an international outreach arm where we'll have sometimes we'll have free events in Charlottesville where we'll host an ambassador, do international events like that. We make documentaries. In fact, we're doing the one we're currently working on is something about January 6th. I know that's something we want to keep. We keep it basically in the public's consciousness. And then another thing we do is we have a youth outreach arm where, something that Dr. Sabato is very big on is that, as many people as possible should be involved in the democratic process. So we try to go to high schools and do mock elections and talk about civics. So just a little sampling of what we do at the Center for Politics.
Got you. Once again, thank you for joining us. And I have to ask, because you definitely said a lot, and thank you for the work that you do. Being at UVA, and you mentioned like keeping in the forefront, like January 6th and the impact and what that meant to the country. I'm curious, does your work ever feel stifled, like when it comes to the democratic process? Being at UVA, because again, like we talk straight to the community here, whether it's UVA, whether it's Charlottesville, whether you're native, whether you came here as a student. And as I'm sure you know, the relationship between the university and the city hasn't always been good, and it's been quite ugly at times. Like, so do you ever feel like there's limitations to the truth that you speak, or to dealing with politics in this environment?
Yeah, it is very tough. Oftentimes it's tough to be nonpartisan. Dr. Sabato gets a lot of criticism because if you look on his Twitter page, it's very obvious which side he's on. Over the years, he's been very anti-Trump. And what I tell people is, look, he's not. He's not anti-Trump for the sake of being anti-Trump. He doesn't like what Trump and his people have done to the norms of our democratic system, right? January 6th being a very good example. I think my work, as far as the crystal ball, we're more national. We do follow some things, like, one thing we'll be writing about this year, which we can probably talk about a bit later, is we just got done with the 2022 elections. Everyone's looking now towards the 2024 election. Right. We're like, wait a minute, we're going to have our legislature elections here in Virginia this year. That's going to be very important, I think. But what I tell people is, at the Crystal Ball, my approach is, we care about being right more than anything else. Something that we were very proud of is, in 2016, we, like a lot of other forecasters, got it wrong because a lot of people thought Hillary Clinton was going to win. I will say, though, that that was before they hired me. But like in 2020, we put out predictions for every state. We only got one wrong. So we try to be accurate.
Oh, Miles froze on us.
Oh, you're right. It is hard oftentimes.
There you go. Gotcha. Yeah, we got you froze for a second, but we got you back now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
No, I think we heard all of that. Yeah, but Razor and Max, I don't know if y'all have anything to add, but we again, like, we want to sort of introduce you.
Yeah, I got a question.
Yeah, to the
quick question, Joe.
To the show and the work that you do, because there are some big elections coming up. So Razor has a question, but before you go, definitely wanted you to sort of leave a cliffhanger with the folks on things here. Whether it's national, federal, state, what have you, that's coming up this year in this election that we should keep an eye on, and we can talk more about it later. But Razor, sure.
If you could tell our listeners anything, what should they do with the information that you give us? Because you being right about the elections doesn't relate over to what somebody needs to do in their life. So how should they prep themselves for the information that you're going to give us on the airwaves?
Yes, that's a very good example. That's a very good question. One thing I said is, we're very big on civic education. We try to, one of the things I try to do is I try to give people context. Okay, this is what's happening in this election. I try to break things down so that people can, if you're in the state of Virginia, this is a type of choice between the candidates you have. People have to, we can, something I'm proud of is that, we are free, unlike a lot of other forecasters that they charge you. We view this as pretty much a public service in terms of educating people about, what elections are up. So, I would say that, people are, people are free to reach out to me personally if they have questions about a specific election and anything like that. So that's a bit of what I would say there.
Yep, thank you. Max, did you
all that I would add is, we're glad to have you as part of the show, and we look forward to your reports.
Oh yeah, sure. It's yeah. I'm definitely happy to be here. I did something like this last year where one of the big Senate races last year was Georgia with Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker. That was an interesting one. I did
Uncle Tom Herschel.
Yeah, so
like don't mind us, Miles.
No, but there was a radio station down in Atlanta where I did something like this each week, and as with that, we should still have a lot to cover this year as well. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, but definitely thank you, for taking your time out, because sometimes we get so engulfed. There's so much going on in Charlottesville right now. Definitely like when it comes time for those bigger elections, being able to really get those questions answered on a personal level is priceless. But before we let you go, just real quick, is there if there was one thing that you could pick real quick, like that's just on top of like maybe your forecast on what you're looking at that would affect Charlottesvillians, what would that be?
Sure. Well, what I've been telling people is in Charlottesville, we're going to have our state elections this year for our legislature. Really Charlottesville and Albemarle County, the big contest for us isn't going to be in November. It's going to be in the June Democratic primary, where we sort of have an unusual situation where our representative in the House of Delegates, Sally Hudson, is challenging Trei Deeds, our state senator, who's basically an institution in this area. She's leaving her House seat open. So we are going to have some very interesting choices in Charlottesville in this June primary. So I think we'll be talking a lot about that, I'm sure.
That's right. Well, thank you again, Miles and Miss Max. You want to take it home? Appreciate
another great show. Have enjoyed all of our guests. Thank you guys for coming on and sharing your time with us today. And I would just tell Charlottesville to take care of itself. Take care of yourselves. We'll be back as usual, bringing the great conversations, very in-depth conversations with you, but take care of yourselves, okay?
Absolutely.
LP 101.3 Jams.
Thank you, Miles. Appreciate it. I look forward to talking to you more in the future.
All right, thank y'all. Yes,
Thank you,
yes,
thank
it was
you.
nice to meet y'all.
Take care.